There are approximately 3,900 known species of snakes on Earth. Of those, around 600 are venomous. Of those 600, roughly 200 are capable of killing a human being with a single bite. That number, 200 snakes capable of killing a person, is a number most people do not sit with long enough to appreciate. Snake venom is not a single substance. It is a complex biological cocktail that has been refined by millions of years of evolution into something extraordinarily efficient at doing one thing: shutting down the biological systems of whatever it enters. Some venoms destroy tissue from the inside out. Some collapse the blood's ability to clot, so the victim bleeds continuously from every wound, every organ. Some paralyze the muscles that control breathing, so the person remains fully conscious while slowly suffocating. Some do all of these things simultaneously. The World Health Organization estimates that between 81,000 and 138,000 people die from snakebite every year. An additional 400,000 suffer permanent injury, including amputations caused by tissue death at the bite site. Snakebite is classified by the WHO as a neglected tropical disease. Most of the people who die from it live in rural parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, far from anti-venom and emergency care. Today we go through the 13 deadliest snakes in the world, not ranked purely by venom toxicity and not ranked purely by number of human deaths, ranked by the full picture: how potent the venom is, how aggressive the snake is, how many people it kills, where it lives, and how much time it gives you to survive a bite. The inland taipan, Australia. By the single measurement of venom toxicity, the inland taipan is the most venomous snake on Earth. It is not close. One bite from an inland taipan delivers enough venom to kill approximately 100 adult humans. The venom is a precise biological weapon, a combination of neurotoxins that paralyze muscles, procoagulants that cause massive internal clotting, myotoxins that destroy muscle tissue, and an enzyme called hyaluronidase that accelerates the spread of all of those toxins through the body's tissue simultaneously. A single drop of inland taipan venom is 50 times more toxic than a single drop of Indian cobra venom. It is 10 times more toxic than the venom of a rattlesnake. Here is the paradox that makes the inland taipan remarkable in a different way. Despite possessing the most lethal venom of any snake on Earth, the inland taipan has caused no confirmed human fatalities in recorded history. The snake lives in the remote, sparsely populated floodplains of Queensland and South Australia. It is reclusive, avoids human contact with consistency, and has a temperament that is, by the standards of the world's most venomous snakes, relatively calm. The people who have been bitten have almost all been herpetologists or snake handlers, people who knew what they were dealing with and were in proximity to emergency care and anti-venom. The inland taipan is the deadliest snake on Earth by chemistry. It is a reminder that toxicity alone does not determine how many people a snake kills. Geography, behavior, and access to treatment matter just as much. The black mamba, Africa. The black mamba is the snake that most closely combines extreme venom toxicity with the behavior, speed, and range that actually produces human deaths. Found across sub-Saharan Africa, the black mamba is the fastest land snake in the world. It has been recorded at speeds of up to 20 kilometers per hour over short distances. It can reach lengths of over 4 meters, making it the longest venomous snake in Africa. Its name does not come from the color of its skin, which ranges from gray to dark brown. It comes from the black coloration inside its mouth, which it displays as a warning before striking. A black mamba bite delivers a venom that is almost entirely neurotoxic. It shuts down the nervous system rapidly and with precision. Neurological symptoms, including slurred speech, drooping eyelids, and loss of muscle control, can begin within 10 minutes of a bite. Without antivenom, death from respiratory failure typically occurs within 7 to 15 hours. In some documented cases, it has occurred within 30 minutes. Before antivenom was available, the black mamba bite had a fatality rate approaching 100%. Even today, with antivenom available in parts of its range, the speed with which the venom acts means that a person bitten in a rural area, far from emergency care, has a very narrow window for survival. Africa has no shortage of venomous snakes. The black mamba stands apart from almost all of them because of what it combines: extreme speed, extreme length, extreme potency, and a documented willingness to stand its ground and strike repeatedly when cornered or threatened. The saw-scaled viper, Africa, and Asia. The saw-scaled viper is, by the best estimates of herpetologists and toxicologists, responsible for more human deaths than any other snake species in the world. Not the most venomous, not the most feared by reputation, but the one that kills the most people. It is also one of the smallest snakes on this list. Fully grown adults measure between 30 and 90 centimeters. They are not large. They are not fast by the standards of the black mamba. They do not have a fearsome reputation that has crossed continents. What they have is range, aggression, and a habitat that puts them directly alongside human populations. The saw-scaled viper lives across a broad band of Africa, the Middle East and South Asia, including India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and large parts of the Middle East and Central Asia. This range covers some of the most densely populated regions on Earth, including areas where people walk barefoot, sleep on the ground, and work in fields and brush that the viper uses as shelter. When threatened, the saw-scaled viper does not retreat. It rubs its scales together to produce a hissing warning sound, and then it strikes. It strikes early. It strikes more than once. Its venom is hemotoxic, meaning it attacks the blood's ability to clot, causing internal hemorrhaging that can continue for days. A person who receives a full envenomation without treatment may bleed from their eyes, their gums, and their skin as their body's clotting system collapses. The venom itself is not the most potent on this list, but the combination of venom potency, extreme aggression, willingness to bite, vast range, and constant proximity to large rural human populations makes the saw-scaled viper the snake that carries the highest actual death toll of any species on Earth. The king cobra, South and Southeast Asia. The king cobra is the longest venomous snake in the world. Adults regularly reach lengths of 4 meters. The largest reliably recorded individual measured 5.85 meters. It is found across South and Southeast Asia, from India through southern China, the Philippines, and Indonesia. A single bite from a king cobra can deliver between 200 and 500 milligrams of venom. That quantity of venom contains enough neurotoxin to kill an elephant within 3 hours. The mortality rate from untreated bites in humans is estimated at 50 to 60%. It can kill a person within 15 minutes in cases of severe envenomation. What makes the king cobra genuinely distinct from most large venomous snakes is its intelligence. Herpetologists who have studied the species closely describe cognitive behaviors not typically associated with snakes. King cobras are the only snakes in the world known to build nests for their eggs, and the females guard those nests actively and aggressively. They can recognize individual humans they have encountered before. They respond to repeated handling with reduced stress responses over time, a behavior associated with learning. This intelligence does not make them safe. It makes their unpredictability a different kind of problem. A king cobra that has decided something is a threat does not respond the way a simpler animal does. It tracks. It pursues. It maintains its threat response beyond the initial encounter. King cobras are also the only snakes in the world that regularly hunt and eat other snakes, including other venomous species. A king cobra that has been disturbed while feeding or nesting is considered one of the most dangerous encounters in South Asian wildlife. The Russell's viper, South Asia. The Russell's viper is one of the 4 snakes collectively known in India as the Big Four, the 4 species responsible for the overwhelming majority of snakebite deaths in South Asia. It is found across the Indian subcontinent, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and parts of Southeast Asia. India records approximately 58,000 snakebite deaths per year. The Russell's viper is responsible for more of those deaths than any other single species. The venom of the Russell's viper is complex and brutal. It is hemotoxic, destroying red blood cells and causing the blood to lose its ability to clot. A person bitten without treatment will experience swelling, internal hemorrhaging, and progressive organ failure. The kidneys are particularly vulnerable. Acute kidney failure is a documented outcome of Russell's viper bites in patients who received antivenom too late. The bite can cause permanent kidney damage in survivors, who require dialysis for the rest of their lives. The snake's range is the core of its danger. Russell's vipers live in agricultural fields, rice paddies, and the edges of human settlements. They are active at night. They are difficult to see in low light. Paddy farmers who work in flooded fields with bare or minimally protected feet are among the most frequent bite victims. In parts of Sri Lanka and southern India, the Russell's viper is a constant occupational hazard for anyone who works the land. There is no safe distance from the Russell's viper for the rural agricultural communities that share its habitat. It is not a snake encountered by chance in the wilderness. It is a neighbor, living in the same fields, along the same paths, and around the same buildings as millions of people. The coastal taipan, Australia. The coastal taipan is the larger, more widely distributed cousin of the inland taipan. It lives along the northern and northeastern coasts of Australia and in parts of New Guinea. Unlike its inland relative, which avoids human contact with consistency, the coastal taipan is far more likely to be encountered near human settlements, farms, and sugarcane fields, where it hunts rodents. The venom of the coastal taipan is the third most toxic of any land snake in the world, behind only the inland taipan and the eastern brown snake. A bite delivers neurotoxins that cause paralysis, along with procoagulants that trigger uncontrolled clotting throughout the vascular system, a process called disseminated intravascular coagulation, which paradoxically causes simultaneous clotting and bleeding as the body's systems collapse against each other. Before the development of antivenom in the 1950s, a coastal taipan bite was almost always fatal. Death could occur within 30 minutes in cases of severe envenomation. With antivenom and proper medical care, survival rates have improved dramatically. But the coastal taipan's range in areas of human agricultural activity means encounters are not rare. It is not an abstract threat for the people who work in its territory. The coastal taipan is also notably aggressive when cornered. It will rear up, flatten its head, and strike repeatedly without significant provocation. Unlike many snakes that bite as a last resort, the coastal taipan treats perceived threat with direct, sustained aggression. The eastern brown snake, Australia. The eastern brown snake is responsible for more snakebite deaths in Australia than any other species. It is Australia's deadliest snake, not because it is the most venomous in a laboratory sense, but because of where it lives and how it behaves. The eastern brown snake inhabits the most densely populated parts of Australia. It is common in eastern and southern states, in suburban backyards, farmland, parks, and bushland that borders residential areas. It is the snake most likely to be encountered by an Australian going about their daily life. The venom of the eastern brown snake is the second most toxic of any land snake on Earth. It is neurotoxic and causes rapid paralysis. Brian Fry, a venom researcher at the University of Queensland, described eastern brown snakes in an ABC interview as the only snakes in the world that regularly kill people in under 15 minutes. The initial bite is often painless, which can cause victims to underestimate what has happened. Symptoms can escalate from minimal to critical extremely rapidly. The snake is also exceptionally fast and highly reactive. It does not wait to be stepped on. It actively defends its space. When threatened, it rears up into an S-curve and strikes multiple times in rapid succession. Encounters with eastern brown snakes near Australian homes are documented regularly. The combination of urban range, extreme venom potency, and aggressive defensive behavior makes the eastern brown snake the most practically dangerous snake for the average Australian person. The Fer-de-lance, Central and South America. The fer-de-lance is the snake responsible for more snakebite fatalities in Central and South America than any other species. It is found from southern Mexico through Central America and into large parts of South America, with particular density in Colombia, Costa Rica, and the Amazon basin. It is a pit viper, which means it has heat-sensing pits on its face that allow it to detect warm-blooded prey in complete darkness. It hunts at night. It is extremely well camouflaged, blending into leaf litter and jungle floor with a pattern that makes it almost impossible to see at ground level. People walking through jungle at night step on fer-de-lances without ever seeing them. That is the primary mechanism of most bites. The venom is hemotoxic and extremely destructive. It causes massive tissue necrosis at the bite site. Limbs bitten by the fer-de-lance and not treated quickly can develop gangrene severe enough to require amputation. The venom also disrupts blood clotting throughout the body, causing internal hemorrhaging. In rural areas without rapid access to antivenom, untreated bites carry very high mortality rates. The fer-de-lance is also documented to be notably aggressive, particularly the females, which are larger than the males. A journalist who entered the Darien Gap was told that if a large fer-de-lance struck a member of the group, the antivenom they carried would likely be insufficient to counter the volume of venom from a full bite. That assessment was not theatrical. It was the documented reality of the species in the region. The puff adder, Africa. The puff adder is Africa's most medically significant snake. It is responsible for more snakebite fatalities and permanent injuries on the African continent than any other species, including the more feared black mamba. It is a heavy-bodied viper found throughout sub-Saharan Africa, Morocco, and parts of the Arabian Peninsula. It inhabits a vast range of habitats, from savanna and grassland to rocky hillsides and forest edges. It is abundant across most of its range, and its most dangerous quality is almost invisible until it is too late. The puff adder moves very little. It is an ambush predator that relies on its excellent camouflage to remain motionless in leaf litter, on paths, and in grass until prey moves within striking range. Unlike most snakes, which respond to approaching footsteps by moving away, the puff adder frequently does not move at all. It sits, it waits, and when something comes close enough, it strikes. The venom is cytotoxic and hemotoxic. It destroys tissue aggressively at the bite site. Swelling begins within minutes. Necrosis of skin and muscle follows. Untreated bites can result in limb loss as the tissue death spreads from the bite point. Death from full envenomation without treatment is not rare. The puff adder accounts for its large share of African snakebite fatalities, not because it is the most aggressive, not because its venom is the most toxic, but because its ambush behavior, combined with its vast range and abundance, means that millions of people across Africa live and work in territory where the risk of an accidental encounter is a daily reality. The Boomslang, Africa. The boomslang is a tree-dwelling snake found across sub-Saharan Africa. It is relatively slender, grows to about 1.5 meters, and spends most of its life in trees and shrubs, where its green or brownish coloration provides camouflage among leaves and branches. It is not the most feared snake in Africa by reputation. It is not the largest or the fastest, but its venom is, in one specific and medically significant way, among the most dangerous produced by any snake on Earth. Boomslang venom is a potent hemotoxin. It prevents the blood from clotting. A person bitten by a boomslang does not immediately feel the effects. The venom acts slowly, over hours or even a full day. In that time, the bite site may not even appear particularly severe. There is no immediate swelling, no dramatic pain. The person feels for hours as though they may be fine. They are not fine. What is happening inside them is a progressive collapse of the blood's entire clotting system. By the time severe symptoms appear, internal hemorrhaging is widespread. The victim begins bleeding from the gums, from skin punctures, from mucous membranes. Without specific antivenom, which is only produced in South Africa, the bleeding continues until the person dies. The slow onset of boomslang envenomation has made it particularly dangerous in documented cases where the victim was not immediately identified as being in danger. The most famous such case involved herpetologist Carl Patterson Schmidt, who was bitten by a young boomslang at the Chicago Natural History Museum in 1957. He kept detailed notes of his symptoms throughout the day, believing the bite to be minor. He died the following morning. The Indian cobra, South Asia. The Indian cobra, also known as the spectacled cobra for the pattern on its hood, is one of the most culturally prominent snakes in the world. It is the snake of snake charmers, of mythology, of religious iconography across South Asia, and it is one of the deadliest snakes on Earth. The Indian cobra is one of India's big four. It is found across the entire Indian subcontinent and into Southeast Asia, living in forests, rice paddies, open plains, and in the vicinity of human settlements. It hunts rodents, which means it is drawn to the same places where humans store food, particularly in rural agricultural communities. Its venom is neurotoxic, attacking the nervous system and causing progressive paralysis. Without treatment, death from respiratory failure can occur within hours. Envenomation rates for Indian cobra bites are significant, though the species also delivers a relatively high proportion of dry bites, bites in which no venom is injected, as a warning response. What makes the Indian cobra particularly deadly in practice is its density within human-populated areas, and the limited access to antivenom in many of the rural communities it inhabits. A bite that occurs in a city, where a hospital is close, is survivable with proper treatment. The same bite occurring in a remote village where the nearest functioning clinic is 2 hours away by foot is a far more serious situation. The Indian cobra kills thousands of people every year across South Asia. It does so not because of the single most powerful venom, but because of where it lives, how many people share that space, and how consistently the combination of poverty and distance places those people outside the reach of treatment. The Gaboon viper, Central Africa. The Gaboon viper is the largest viper in the world by body mass. Adults weigh up to 10 kilograms and grow to lengths of nearly 2 meters. They live in the rainforests and woodland areas of Central and Western Africa. The Gaboon viper holds 2 records among venomous snakes. It has the longest fangs of any snake on Earth, reaching up to 5 centimeters in length, and it produces the largest venom yield per bite of any snake, with documented yields of up to 9 milliliters per bite in large individuals. To put that in perspective, the lethal dose for a human is a fraction of a milliliter. The venom is a combination of hemotoxins and cytotoxins. The immediate effect is catastrophic tissue destruction at the bite site, accompanied by severe systemic effects on the blood, heart, and nervous system. The pain is described as immediate and extreme. Swelling begins within minutes and can spread rapidly to encompass an entire limb. Without antivenom, death from cardiovascular collapse and organ failure can occur within hours. The Gaboon viper is, by the grace of its behavior, not responsible for the highest number of human deaths on this list. It is slow-moving, generally docile, and rarely aggressive without serious provocation. Most bites occur when people accidentally step on it, which is entirely possible given its extraordinarily effective camouflage. It lies on forest floors and leaf-covered ground completely motionless, looking precisely like dead leaves and bark. When the Gaboon viper does bite, it bites with the full capacity of the largest venom delivery system on Earth. A full envenomation from a large individual is considered a medical emergency of the highest severity. The common krait, South Asia. The common krait is the last snake on this list and in some respects the most quietly devastating of all of them. It is not physically imposing. It reaches about 1.5 meters in length. It is banded in black and white or black and yellow and has a relatively slim profile. It is nocturnal, and during the day it is generally passive, avoiding confrontation. At night, it is among the most dangerous snakes in the world to encounter in an inhabited area. The common krait is part of India's Big Four. It ranges across South Asia from India and Nepal through Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and into Southeast Asia. It enters human dwellings at night, particularly during and after the monsoon season, following the small lizards and mice that it preys on. A significant number of krait bites occur inside homes, often when a person rolls over onto a krait while sleeping. The venom of the common krait is powerfully neurotoxic, several times more potent than that of a cobra. It causes progressive muscle paralysis that begins slowly and becomes complete. The breathing muscles eventually fail. What makes the krait uniquely terrifying is the nature of its bite. It is nearly painless. The initial bite often does not wake a sleeping person. By the time symptoms become apparent, typically several hours later, the envenomation is well advanced. There is a documented pattern of krait bite deaths in which the victim was found dead in the morning with no one in the household having heard or seen anything. The person went to sleep and did not wake up, and the krait was long gone by morning. In rural South Asia, where sleeping on the floor is common and where anti-venom availability is inconsistent, the common krait is a documented and consistent cause of deaths that often go unrecorded. The snake that kills quietly, in the dark, while the world is asleep. These 13 snakes are found on 6 continents, in habitats ranging from remote Australian floodplains to urban back gardens in India to the deepest jungles of Central America and Africa. Some of them kill because their venom is the most toxic compound produced by any animal on Earth. Some of them kill because they live in the same fields and homes as hundreds of millions of people. Some of them kill because they are fast, aggressive, and strike before a person knows they are there. And some of them kill because they are so quiet and so subtle that by the time anyone realizes what has happened, the window for treatment has already passed. The World Health Organization estimates that snakebite kills more people every year than most of the diseases that receive a fraction of its media coverage. Most of those deaths are preventable with antivenom that exists, but is not accessible to the people who need it. The snakes are not the problem to be solved. They are animals doing what animals do. The distance between a person and the antivenom that could save them is a problem that human decisions could change. Which of these snakes surprised you the most? Leave it in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring the most extreme and documented realities of the natural world, subscribe to Parallel Facts. We will keep going.